How are y'all feeling today?
Pretty good.
Good, good. I know it's raining
I'm doing great.
outside.
I can't complain.
That's good. That's good. I see a few of y'all names that look really familiar. I talk to you periodically, of course, via email from your campus coach, just getting me connected with you in regard to your transfer process. So it's good to see you all here. We're going to get started, and of course, we're going to save the questions towards the end. I kind of want to start us off. But if you aren't already familiar with a lot of the transfer schools that we partner with, I made sure that I presented that here for you guys to just kind of take a look at. So you can see the full list here of transfer partners that we partner with that you're able to transfer to. However, we are in the process of partnering with more 4 years. So it's some that's not on here that, is kind of like in the works right now. You can access this chart with all of the options that you're able to transfer to by going to the Detroit Promise website. On this chart, which is really helpful, you're able to see, what is the required GPA for each school, what is the amount of earned credits as far as requirements for each school, and then what semester you can enroll in, and then how often funding is provided for. A lot of you may already be familiar with this because, again, if I talk to you periodically, you kind of know like what to expect depending on what school you're transferring to. So this table here might look a little bit familiar to you. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that information before I just kind of jump into like a reminder for what the Promise Transfer Scholarship is. So a lot of you are already 2-year students, right? So I know your campus coaches, y'all are 2 years either at Schoolcraft, HFC, OCC, Macomb, Jackson, or WC3. So the transfer scholarship from the 2-year to the 4 year, say for example, if you were interested in transferring to Oakland University, I want to emphasize that it is technically the same scholarship, not technically, but is. So the same exact way that the scholarship works at your 2-year, it works the same way or is going to work the same way once you transfer. So it's only for, Detroit residents. Of course, you have to have attended a Detroit public high school and graduated or graduated from one in the last 2 years of your during your time in high school in order to be considered for the scholarship. Again, it is the last dollar. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but a lot of you are already familiar with the fact that in order to receive the Promise Scholarship, you have to have your FAFSA completed, and whatever FAFSA is going to cover, they're going to cover whatever portion they cover. For a lot of students, y'all usually get like Pell, the TIP grant, and things like that. And so whatever is not covered, your Promise Scholarship is likely to cover the remaining balance of that tuition. And that kind of takes me into the tuition based only. So a lot of times when it comes to the transfer scholarship, some students will think, oh, like, well, I want to get my room and board covered and things like that. But it's important to remember that the transfer scholarship is tuition based only. So it's not going to cover room and board. When you transfer to one of these partnering institutions, they may have more amenities offered rather than at your 2-year. So like if you transfer to Wayne State, they have on campus dorms. Um, and then also too, you can get like a meal plan for the dining hall. So all of that is considered room and board. So again, once you transfer with the Promise Transfer Scholarship, it is tuition based only. As you could see, some of the schools do have an expiration date for when the scholarship expires. So I'm actually just going to kind of turn back here again on the chart. So say, for example, we are looking at Oakland University. So Oakland University is going to cover up to your last 2 years. So technically, like while you're at your 2 years, say for example, you currently attend Macomb Community College. So you attend the community college and you attend there for 2 years, ideally. but you're attending long enough to, say, for example, get your associate's degree. So that by the time you transfer to Oakland University, you only need 2 more years, or should only need 2 more years in order to obtain your bachelor's degree. So 2 and 2, that's 4 years. That's the amount of time that they give undergraduate students, or is an expected time frame for undergraduate students to complete their bachelor's degree. So each school is different. Again, each school is different because you have some schools on here like Siena Heights University, Rochester University, and they will cover through graduation. So sometimes students, and also too, just depending on like what your program is, because I do know of some nursing students that still need that extra, maybe like semester, and then at that point they would reach out, to someone like on our higher up team to request additional funding or do kind of like an appeal form. It's not guaranteed that they will cover like an extra semester if needed, but the appeal forms are out there. Again, it's special circumstance. So this is considered for students who are more so looking for like an extra semester if maybe they just have like another class that they need to take before graduating, or maybe they're just part of a specific program that requires a little extra time. But if it's nothing that falls under that umbrella, then you have to follow through the transfer requirements as far as, how long funding is brought through. So if it's Madonna University, it's going to be 2 years. If it's Michigan Tech, it's going to be 2 years. Walsh College is going to be 2 years, so on and so forth. The next one that I'm gonna move to here is step one of what I like to tell students. So I'm sorry, I don't know if I introduced myself, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Serena. I am the Detroit Promise campus coach cited at Schoolcraft College and Jackson College. And I also advise our transfer students. So these are our students that's transferring from 2 years to their 4 years. And I just advise the students and make sure that you guys are prepared and that you have a smooth transition. So that's taking me into step one. So when I'm advising transfer students, I always tell them to research and decide. So if you are planning to transfer, you need to at least be planning like a year in advance. I don't like to see students planning like a semester in advance, like it's a semester before graduation and they're like, oh yeah, I decided that I just want to transfer and I have to do this and I have to do that. And then they're trying to rush and get through all of the steps. And if for some of my students here who I'm your coach or was your coach in the past, then you know that I like for students to work ahead of time and to work in advance just to make sure that you plan accordingly. And just to make sure also too that you avoid pitfalls. So the first step that you want to do is if you are interested in transferring, you have to research. So you want to know what school, which one of our partner in Promise schools that you're deciding to transfer to or that you're interested in transferring to. What's going to be your area of study? So, what's going to be your major? You have to check and see if there's any deadlines. Are there any program requirements as far as like a GPA, or is there just certain things that you need to get accepted into the program at your desired school? So all of these things are important. And again, this is going to be where you want to do your own personal research. So if you know that you want to go to a school that may have like a good business program, you would want to research that according to the partner schools that we have on the chart. You also want to know like what semester you're planning to transfer to. That's going to be important. And then also too, you want to plan on whether you're going to live on campus or whether you're going to live off of campus, because then that's going to make a big difference with the scholarship as well. Because as I mentioned to you guys before, the scholarship is last dollar and tuition based only. So it's only going to cover the tuition. It won't cover room and board. So that's something to think about as well. Now, step two I tell students after you have researched and you know what school you want to go to, you know what's going to be your area of study, you know when the program requirements for it, and you know what semester you're going, what semester you're going to be graduating from your 2 year, and what semester you're going to be transferring to the 4 year. Now it's time to plan. So everything that consists of planning is going to include meeting with your academic advisor. So again, in the last slide, I mentioned to plan at least a year in advance. Here, I'm kind of stretching it, at least 2 years prior to transferring. Now, I know you probably look like Serena, that's a very long time to like start planning to transfer, but to be honest with you, it's never too soon to start your planning to transfer, because you just never know if things might change. Your mind might change, maybe the program might change. That's something that happens often too. Some schools are offering a program 1 year and then they're not offering it like the next year. So it's just important to stay hands on with your transfer process. And that starts by meeting with your academic advisor. So meeting with your academic advisor at your 2 year, say for example, like OCC, you want to discuss things like what classes are transferable, right? Because classes that's offered at OCC or classes that's offered at HFC might not be offered at Wayne State, or it might not be offered at Madonna University. So then that's kind of like when the conflict comes in, because if you have like a certain program that needs to have a certain amount of earned credit requirements, then you have to make sure that you're meeting those earned credit requirements and that the classes at, for example, OCC are actually going to be transferable to Wayne State. Other things that you want to discuss with your academic advisor is pretty much like the simple stuff. So just your academic standing, be be mindful and just pay attention after every semester that you complete, and pay attention to like, okay, what is my GPA now? Because after every semester that you complete, your GPA constantly fluctuates as grades are constantly being submitted over time. And so depending on what school you're planning to transfer to, you have to be focus minded as far as like, okay, I need to have a 3.0 by the time I graduate from my 2 year college here at OCC. So paying attention to that, as your grades are submitted and as you are completing classes, meeting with your academic advisor and just paying attention to your GPA, paying attention to the amount of earned credits that you earn over time in order to meet those requirements to transfer with the promised scholarship. The next thing that I like to tell students to do, which some students automatically know to do who are interested in transferring, I've had students in the past just meet with an admissions representative. So say, for example, I had a student, I want to say maybe like a couple of years ago, that transferred from Schoolcraft College to Oakland University. And over the course of time prior to transferring, he was meeting with the academic advisor here at Schoolcraft, and he was also meeting with an admissions representative over at Oakland University. And that is just so that you make sure that there's no miscommunication anywhere. Because sometimes like you can hear something on one end, and if you run with that and you don't fact check it, or you don't get like a second opinion or something, and then you go and pursue whatever your next step is, then you might miss something. So it's always good to make sure that the stories are matching by meeting with your academic advisor and meeting with an admissions representative at the school that you're interested in transferring to. The next thing I tell students to do is just attend your coaching sessions regularly. So the same way that you need to be having this communication with your academic advisor, you need to have this frequent communication with your campus coach about your academic progress. So everybody in here knows, the characteristics and the qualities of your campus coach, which is to motivate you, to encourage you, to make sure that you have all the resources and the tools that you need to be academically successful and to make sure that you stay on track. So attend your coaching sessions regularly. And also to transfer students as they're in the process of, planning their transfer. Either your campus coach would get you connected with me, or a lot of students just, kind of know who I am just from previous history. So you can always email me, and I have my email address here if you want to screenshot it or just write it down. But students often, as they're in the process, they'll email me like any questions or concerns that they may have. And I'm always happy to assist. Now, the next step after, you've done the research, you decided what school you wanted to go to, then you start to plan. You're meeting with your academic advisor. You're paying attention to the requirements that you need in order to get the scholarship. You're talking to your campus coach about it. So this thing is starting to get in motion. That is when you move into step 3, which is action. Now is actually time to start being hands-on, submitting things, turning things in, and applying. So the first step that I tell students to do, and this is always the most important steps for all college students, but you want to make sure that your FAFSA is completed. Okay, so as long as you are a college student, especially I tell students all the time, if you're not like a student with a bunch of money laying around, then you need to make sure that you do the FAFSA application every school year that it opens. When you do your FAFSA application, you guys already know this, but you have to list whichever of your interested transfer schools that you're interested in. You have to list that on your FAFSA application as one of your schools of choices. So FAFSA is number 1. The next step is going to be the admissions application. So every school is different. And every admissions process is going to be different as well. So again, kind of taking me back to whatever your desired program of study is going to be. Say, for example, you want to go into nursing at Wayne State University, but the nursing program at Wayne State University has a deadline. They have a certain GPA that may be like a little bit higher than what we're requesting for the scholarship form. And so you have to gather all of that information to know what's going to be required of you as far as the admissions application. So this is why it's important to plan at least a year or 2 in advance, so you have all of the knowledge that you need and that you're prepared, and to be prepared by the time you actually submit your admissions application. Also, I have it in here again too to contact an admissions counselor for confirmation about any admissions application deadlines, or what are the deadlines for certain programs or majors. So make sure that you contact an admissions counselor for confirmation. The next step is going to be just to submit the Detroit Promise scholarship form. So the scholarship form, we actually changed it. We used to have like an actual form, like I would send students a link and it would take them directly to the form to complete and to submit. We have a new system now. So a lot of you, when you signed up for the Detroit Promise Scholarship, you signed in on the website for the Detroit Promise, and that's using your username and your password. So you'll just need to go to the DetroitPromise.com website, log in using your username and your password, and then just complete the form there. I also make sure that I provide this direct link, and I'll actually drop it in the chat too, so that y'all have it. So like if you're on your phone or if you're on a computer right now, you can click on the link and you can save it. And that is just how you access the transfer scholarship form for the Detroit Promise. Now, the main things are going to be required, obviously, for anything that's required, of course, your transcripts and your acceptance letters. That is going to be extremely, extremely important. So do not submit this scholarship form if you have, is somebody unmuted?
Yes, bro.
Okay. All right, so make sure that when you are submitting this scholarship form that you have your acceptance letter. So that means you've already applied to the school and you've already been accepted. and you have your college transcripts. Say, for example, at HFC, you completed your final semester, you look at your transcript, you say, yep, I got the 3.0 GPA, I got the 58 credits or more to transfer out to Wayne State University. I'm good to go. I'm going to apply for the Promise Scholarship and I'm going to turn it in. Now, I tell students this all the time, but do not take like a screenshot from your phone. There's an actual way where you can download these files and you can save it onto your phone or you can save it onto your computer, but it's the professional way to do it. You know, y'all are young professionals, so no screenshots. When you get your acceptance letter and when you get your transcript from your 2-year, make sure that you download the file and then you'll just need to attach it to your Promise Scholarship application. Now, just kind of like some small things that you might need to know, like once you transfer out to your transfer school, you're not going to have a campus coach. So a lot of y'all are used to having a campus coach, but the campus coaches are only offered like at 2 years, at least as of right now. What we have instead of campus coaches is we have a university engagement manager. So once you transfer over, Kanisha Williams is going to kind of be like that campus coach, but not really, but she's going to be that point person for you who is going to be like that extra support system to just kind of navigate you through, the rest of your remaining college education up until graduation. So all of your questions and concerns after you have successfully transferred is going to be geared towards Kanisha Williams, and you can again screenshot that email if you'd like to. This is another important point that I wanted to put in here because a lot of the times I'll have students that already transferred to their transfer school, and then they send me an email and they're like, hey, Serena, I'm completing like my last year, but I'm really tired. I want to take a break. And I was just wondering if I'm able to do that. And the answer is no. So as you're completing your Promise Scholarship transfer form, it's a contract. So you'll see like in fine print, it's telling you the things that you have to do to maintain the scholarship. It's telling you that, there's no gap years. So you have to go full and straight through. Now, some schools, you can take classes like during the fall and during the winter semester, but some schools, say for example, like some schools like Albion College. So Albion College, they only offer in the fall and spring, but then there's other institutions like Oakland University to where you can take summer classes. So again, it just kind of depends like on what school you're planning to transfer to that will offer those type of options. But the main thing is that there's no gap years. And also too, you have to maintain the scholarship. And my advice always to transfer students is just to be persistent and be consistent. You only have ideally, 2 more years left prior to transfer. So you just got to hustle, put in that work. You got the support system. Again, you'll have your university engagement manager, Kanisha Williams, to reach out to if you have any questions or concerns. And then, yeah, we have a list of contacts, depending on what school that you're interested in, we have that contact information. And again, you guys have my email address too. So if you ever have any questions about admissions or financial aid, you can always reach out to me and you can let me know. And with that being said, we are right on schedule. So let's take like the next 30 minutes if we need all of that time to just address any questions or concerns. And before you guys start asking, I want to tell you, if I don't have the answer to the question, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write it down and then I'm going to pass it along to someone on my team who's going to be able to answer those questions for me. And then I'll make sure that I follow up in a separate email to everyone who attended the meeting today to kind of let you know the answers to those questions. How we'll do this flow is you can just raise your hand. So on your Zoom, on your Zoom camera, just raise your hand and then I'll just kind of go down the list of everyone who has questions. Okay, the first one I see is is it Kiers? Kiers, Kiers? And you gotta make sure that you unmute. Okay, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it was spelled wrong, but my name is Kiera, and I just wanted you to, if to go back to slide 1 for step 1 and step 2, so I can just screenshot them
Yeah,
because I kind of got in late.
yep, absolutely. So you wanted to screenshot the chart?
No, step 1 and step 2.
Step 1 and step 2, my apologies. Yep, step 1, research. So again, you're just researching pretty much that chart the chart that I was on before this slide. So you can access that chart, like I said, just by going to the Detroit Promise website. But step 1 is going to require for you to actually be looking at the chart because you need to know, okay, what school do we offer? What is going to be like the program that you're going into, and what semester you're going to plan on transferring to. And then step 2 is again to just, like start planning, communicating with your academic advisor, paying attention to what classes are going to be transferable, like where is your current GPA, like where is it standing at right now? Because of course, you need to know, well, if I'm at a 2.9, I'm doing pretty good. I only got one more semester. I can just kind of knock these last 2 classes out, and I already know I'm at a 3.0 GPA. Versus if I'm at like a 2.5, I'm like, okay, I got to put in some work. I got a couple of more semesters left to go. And that is what you're going to utilize that time for, with meeting with your academic advisor, attending your coaching sessions regularly, and communicating this information with your campus coach, and just, speaking with an admissions representative for whichever school that you decide to transfer to. And did you get all of the screenshots, Kiera?
From step 1 and step 2, yes.
Yes, perfect. All right, and was that all the questions? Well, I'll lower your hand, and then if you have another question, you can just raise your hand. All right, the next one I have on here is Jerica. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Jerichiah.
Jerichiah. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to ask, so is there a deadline for when you can submit your transfer agreement? Because I graduated, but I don't know when my official transcript will be ready. And I see on there that you have to submit your transcript and your admissions letter, but my college that I'm transferring to, they're waiting on my official transcript to give me my official acceptance letter.
Okay, and so just to repeat the first part of that question, because I think it kind of cut out, you asked if there was a deadline to submit, did you say the Detroit Promise Scholarship?
The transfer form.
Yep, the Detroit Promise Transfer Scholarship. So there's not a deadline to submit it. There's no deadline. So that the only time that you need to really pay attention to deadlines is according to like the application. So again, kind of like how I mentioned, if you're going into a nursing program at Wayne State, they more than likely have a deadline for that. And so you want to make sure that you're trying to get everything submitted prior to that deadline.
Okay, yeah, I'm transferring to Madonna, and they don't have and I'm going for nursing, so they don't have a deadline for the nursing program there. They're just waiting on my transcript.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I mean, yeah, then as soon as you get like those final transcripts, go ahead and complete it. A lot of students sometimes like that have already transferred, they'll start to get kind of nervous when they don't see the scholarship applied right away. So if y'all are at your 2 years, then you know that sometimes like there can be delays within the financial aid office, and that's literally everywhere. It doesn't matter like what school that you go to. There's always some type of delay with the financial aid office, and especially considering the fact that FAFSA has changed so much. Um, a lot of people are still waiting to be awarded. So I know I'm attending Oakland University this upcoming fall semester, and a lot of the FAFSA applications have not even completely been reviewed or applied or awarded to students' accounts just because of the changes that have taken place. So you can still go to class. So if you're transferring to Madonna University, but you have to wait to get the final transcript, just continue to take the class, your classes. So more than likely, if you're registered for the fall semester, that's like 3 or 4 months of a semester. And so that's way more than enough time to, get the scholarship submitted or get your transcripts and submit it to the scholarship form and then turn it in. And that way the balance will get covered and it'll get covered for the next semester that you'll be enrolling. So while you're attending Madonna University, you probably will see a balance. Don't worry about it. Just as long as you have followed through with all of the steps and did everything that you were supposed to do, and you got the scholarship form submitted, just allow the financial aid office enough time to process it. And then once you see it awarded, then you'll be able to register for the next upcoming semester.
Okay, thank you. That answered my question tremendously.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. That question, it come up so often. And, I can understand students get nervous about it. You see a balance, but usually like the 4 years, they kind of different. So they're not just going to kick you out of class. If you have a balance, the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to prevent you from registering for classes for a future semester. But while you're waiting for your awards and scholarships and everything to kick in, you can just go to class as regular. All right, and then we have Chantel here next. Hey, Chantel.
Hi. So I have a question about the credits. Can you go
Mhm.
back to, I think it was slide 1 or 2?
Credits, or it might have been, was it this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm transferring to Wayne State and I see it said like 58 credits or associate's degree. So
Mhm.
if I don't have the 58 credits with the associate degree, be fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
it's
That was
pretty and it's pretty much the same thing, right? So like if you are going to Schoolcraft College, more than likely if you got like 58 credits, that might as well be your associate's degree. But it just again, it depends on your program. It depends on, those type of things as to, whether or not you decide to. I do have some students that say, well, I want to get both. I want to get both my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree. Some students just say, well, just give me the bachelor's degree. I'm fine with that. And so they'll transfer without the associates. But yeah, 58 credits is going to be the requirement for Wayne State University. Something that I want to emphasize again, I know I already said this throughout the presentation, but pay attention to what classes are going to be transferable. So I know that word is not on here. You just see, oh, I just need 25 credits. I just need 60 credits. I just need 16 credits in order to transfer. And so while that is true, it's not true if you're going into a certain program. Because if you're going into like nursing at Wayne State, they might have a different set of requirements than what we're requiring for the scholarship. These requirements are specifically for the scholarship, but then you have other scholarships if you're going into a certain program.
okay, because I'm going for social work and they just gave me my acceptance letter. So I didn't want to fill out the transfer for the promise to Wayne State if I didn't have my like 58 credits, but I seen like the associate degree would have been fine. So I just filled it out.
Good. Yeah. As long as you are following along with the requirements. And like you said, so when you got your acceptance letter, was it directly into social work or was it just into Wayne State University in general?
It was just into Wayne State University in general. I just filled out my stuff for my BSW, so I'm waiting for them.
Gotcha. Okay. And then just make sure, Chantel, make sure that you're speaking either, or I would say both. Speak with your academic advisor at your 2 year, and then also speak with an admissions representative at Wayne State, like in the social work department, because you just want to make sure like that their requirements is not different. And that takes me back to what I was telling y'all when you're researching, you want to research all of this. So Wayne State for the Detroit Promise, we have our general requirements, but social work at Wayne State might be something completely different. So you just want to research that ahead of time.
Okay, because I set my appointment with my advisor for Saturday to see what all I need. Because I think they said like my credits are sitting at like 40 something %, but I don't think they put in most of my classes yet.
Okay.
Because I seen some classes on there they said I needed, but I took. So I gotta see what that's about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let them, finalize everything. A lot of my students here, we just wrapped up our final semester, and a lot of students are still waiting for their instructors to kind of input those final grades, so that, their transcript can be updated. So, just allow them to have that time to process. What I will say is if you if you don't have the credits or the requirements that you need in order to get into the social work program, a lot of times what students will end up doing is they say, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and transfer, and I'm gonna take the rest of these classes that I need to take at Wayne State, and then I'm just going to enter into the social work program while I'm there. So you can do that too.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, and then I have Martela.
Yeah, that's me. I guess my question kind of been like already kind of answered. I meant to lower my hand, but it was along the basis of I want to transfer to Madonna, and I already contacted the advisor there about their program, but I just recently had found out that you guys don't cover their accelerated nursing program. So I kind of think that comes back to I think slide 2 when you said research and decide. I didn't know that there were certain programs that you guys can cover and don't cover. So like the accelerator program, I want to know like what was the reason that maybe you guys don't do that, or
That's a good question, Martela. And I want to say this is kind of new to me too, because I remember when I first started working with the program here at Schoolcraft College, and I remember that they used to cover, so at Schoolcraft College, culinary arts is like one of the popular programs. And I always had like a lot of students in the culinary arts program. And so after they would get their associate's degree, some students would say, well, I want to get my baking and pastries certificate. And that's like a completely different like area of study. And we used to cover that. But then I would say maybe like after about a year or so, we just no longer covered baking and pastries for students. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know who gave you that information or who told you that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Detroit Promise didn't cover certain programs. However, I am going to write this question down, and it's going to be one of the questions that I can ask our point person, our university engagement manager.
I kind of have an idea. Because I was on track to do the accelerated program too. The accelerated program at Madonna is very expensive. So I'm just assuming that that's the reason why. And also too, they had some scrutiny with Madonna when they were talking back and forth with them through the promise. And I'm assuming that they wouldn't cover it, so they only had a certain amount of. They just had a lot of scrutiny with Madonna, so that's all that they were able to allow us to have in this sense. But that's all I know from my coaches at Henry Ford. But I know it was some scrutiny with the accelerated program and the traditional version, but they will only allow us to do the traditional one because I'm assuming because the accelerator is very expensive.
It is expensive. So like whatever FAFSA doesn't cover, it makes sense that okay, Detroit Promise, I want to cover the rest.
So let me make sure. So what I'm gonna do, Martela, is I'm gonna reach out to our direct person who works on the other end of our transfer work because I'm not sure, right? So I don't want you to take anything from here until like we get like a final answer. So I wrote the question down and I know that you're interested in an accelerated program at Madonna University and you just want to know if the Detroit Promise is going to cover that, right?
Basically, yes.
Okay. And then what was the name of the accelerated program?
Is it a specific name? I just know it's the accelerated, it's a 16-month program at Madonna. I don't know a specific name.
Okay.
It's for nursing.
Yeah, it's for a nurse. I just know it's accelerated. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So
you. Very kind.
you're going into nursing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
And
right.
then I did have one more question, just really quickly. My other
Mhm.
question was, even then, like if I do have to change my my program and do the traditional one, which is not a problem, because like my conflict is I have to decide whether, do 16 months or do the full 3 years and take advantage of the scholarship that I have. But my question pertains to filling out this on the website. You said submit official transcripts, or can it be unofficial transcript when we go on a link?
It needs
Because
to
I
be the
downloaded.
official transcript.
Okay, because I used Parchment and I've used this other website like Clearinghouse or something, and
Mhm.
I'll have to send it to like a specific email, because they don't give us the like official per se.
So if you're talking about accessing your transcript, usually what I do, I always went through Parchment when I tried to access mine. I would just put in my personal email and then they would send it to me and then I would just download it and then I would just have a copy of it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, y'all would accept that? Would it still technically be considered official?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
your official transcript is like the final, like, okay, this was the last semester that I took everything. I'm all done. I got my final GPA, my final credits. I'm graduated or I got what I needed. Here is my final transcript. I'm not taking any more classes. And then you turn it in.
Okay.
You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Because I graduated over this the summer. I just didn't get like an official. So okay.
Oh, you were you the one who was telling me?
Yeah, I mean, me and you talked about Wayne State a while ago.
Okay.
But
So
there's some
you just need to,
misunderstanding.
if you took your classes like in the summertime, are you saying this summer?
I graduated last summer, so I'm done. I'm just trying to transfer to a new school.
And did you get your transcripts after last semester?
I mean, no, I didn't get them, but I got my degree in the mail. But I don't know.
So to access your transcript, you can log into your student account portal. It's a bunch of different ways you can get access to it. So one of the ways is like you just mentioned, you can go to Parchment or you can go to Clearinghouse, and they're just going to ask for your school. They're going to ask where do you want it to be sent to. Me personally, I put my own personal email so that it comes to me and I have access to it. Or you can still log into, or you should be able to log into your student account portal at your school that you graduated from last summer. Go through your student account portal. You should be able to download a copy of your official transcript there. Or if
Okay.
you can't do either one of those for whatever reason, you can call the academic advising office at your 2-year and just request information on how to access your transcript. But
Okay.
you need the transcript for sure because when you apply to Madonna University, they're going to ask for that. So you just want to make sure that you have it or that you just go to Parchment and then have it sent straight to Madonna University.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, you're welcome. And then Chantel, I'm going to come back to you. I want to go to Zuri because I don't believe they've asked the question. So Zuri, I believe I'm pronouncing your name correct.
Yeah, that's right. I had a question about regarding transcripts. So you said you have to talk to the advising about the transcripts.
Yep, so you can either that's just kind of like one of the ways to access your transcripts, but you should be able to access your transcripts by just logging into your student account portal. So say for example, me at Eastern, like if I wanted to get my transcripts right now, all I have to do is log into my student account portal and then just go through, we have like a section that says academics and then it'll show like all of the semesters, all of the classes that I've taken, my grades, GPA, earned credits, all of that. And I just download it and I have a copy. Another way that you can get access to your transcript is what Mia Martela was talking about. So you can go through Parchment or you can go through Clearinghouse and they'll send you a copy of the transcript. But if all else fails, like if you just for whatever reason can't get access through either one of those, then you can always call your academic advisor at your school and just let them know, like, hey, I was just wondering, how do I get access to my transcripts? And then they'll be able to kind of navigate you through it.
Yeah, okay, because I went through Parchment and they was talking about I had to pay like $7 to send my transcript to like the colleges I wanted to apply to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, some stuff like it's a business. So Parchment and all of that, they will charge you to get your transcripts. So yeah, unfortunately, you do have to pay like a small fee in order to get those. But yeah, if you want to get the unofficial transcripts, though, you can get those from your student account portal. But it's just that for certain stuff, say for example, like for this scholarship or even for the admissions application, they don't want unofficial transcript. You have to submit the official transcript. Now, sometimes like some schools might be like, oh, just submit like a unofficial transcript until you get your final transcript. So say, for example, when I applied to Oakland University, I didn't have my final transcript because I was in the final semester of graduating from Eastern. So as I was submitting the application to Oakland University, they asked for the transcript. I had to submit an unofficial transcript. And then next week, I'm going to get the final transcript, but I have to pay for it. As what we're talking about, I have to pay for the final transcript. And then I have to turn that into Oakland University so that I am clear with acceptance and I can start classes on time.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Chantel, and then what was your first question?
Okay, mine was about the same thing.
Okay.
So I just finished my my Promise application or whatever, and I submitted the unofficial, but it has all my classes and grades in from this semester. So I gotta resubmit that, don't I?
Well, I'm sorry, you just did that form like right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so and this is for everybody, so it's a good idea to like wait until you have like if you have like the transcript and it does have like the GPA and it does have the credit amounts that's like required, you can submit it. But I know a lot of times, like when I am reviewing those, so say for example, Chantel, at some point I'm going to go into the system, and I wonder if I can go into the system right now and be able to see your name. But I will be able to go into the system, and as we're reviewing it, if it's not the final transcript, then it wouldn't get approved. I would have to reach out to you and I would say, hey, Chantel, like I noticed this is missing. I know this is not submitted. And you would have to email me a copy and then I would have to go into the system and upload it. But just since y'all are here, for anyone else who hasn't completed it, don't complete it until you have all of the documents that you need. So that way, when we go to review it and to review eligibility, we can just go ahead, approve it, whatever we have to do, and then you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want me to email you my official?
Yep, you can go ahead and email it to me. And then what I'll do is I'll just review it, like as I'm looking at I'll review it as I'm kind of going through like all of the scholarship submissions. And then what I'll do is I'll just download it, what you sent to me, and then I'll submit it on my end. And that way it'll already be in the system.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Y'all, we have 10 more minutes, so we still have enough time for some more questions if y'all have any. Okay, Ming, you have a question? I see your hand raised.
When is the deadline for the financial aid
Yeah,
application?
that's a good question. So y'all know, finance FAFSA it opens every year. FAFSA used to always open like every October of every year. This year, or yeah, pretty much this year was the first time that it was different because I think it opened in like December or something like that. So they just going through like a lot of changes with it right now. So the FAFSA for the year 24-25, so that's this school year coming up, fall 2024, summer 2025, that FAFSA application opened up in December. So you want to make sure that if you haven't done the FAFSA application 24-25, that you do that, especially if you are planning to transfer for the upcoming fall semester. You want to make sure that you have a FAFSA application on file with that school.
All right.
Okay, any other questions? Y'all have some really good questions. I'm definitely gonna research about the accelerated program and try to learn more about that. But Martella, I do have your name written down, so I'll make sure that I, send it directly to you.
Okay. Let
me see. I wonder, do I have any, and like I said, a lot of y'all I kind of like talk to periodically. Again, just because your campus coach transferred me to you or got us connected. So yeah, we talk often, but I usually have kind of like those next steps. So it's really just the basic steps that we talk through, through the presentation, which is research, know what school you're going to, know what program you're going into, what semester are you planning to transfer, and if you're living on or off campus, and then, just start planning. You got a whole support team behind you. You got your academic advisor, you got your campus coach, you have me as the transfer advisor that you can reach out to and ask for any questions or concerns. But as long as you guys follow through this flow and plan accordingly ahead of time, then you'll have a smooth transition, guaranteed. All right. Any last minute questions or concerns? Going once? Going twice? All right, so I'm assuming everybody, got everything that they need from this session and all questions were answered except for the one from Martella. But if anybody had any like additional questions, like say for example, you think of something, after the meeting is over with, you can always send me an email and let me know. And I'll be sure to get the answer for you. But if nobody had anything else, y'all are free to head out.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to
Thank
you
you so
again
much.
soon.
Have a good weekend, you guys.
Thank
You
you.
too.
You too.